My name is Jaime, and I am from Tampa. I'm going to share my testimony with you guys, per David, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak and to share what God has done in my life. So testimony-wise, my parents didn't necessarily serve the Lord while I was growing up. Me and my sister, we traveled. My father was in the military, so we were a military family. So we went from, I was born in Oklahoma, and we moved from Germany, North Carolina, Indiana, Tampa, Oklahoma again. And so a lot of my childhood growing up, there wasn't a whole lot of serving the Lord. And a lot of things changed in my family when we moved to Indiana. A lot of things changed, family dynamic. My parents didn't have the best relationship, and things just started to split from there. But 2011, my grandmother had passed away. And that's really when things had changed, when God intervened, and really in my mother's life, and in my life, and in my sister's life. And we started going to a church called Grace Assemblies in New Whiteland, Indiana. And that's, we had a youth group that me and my sister both got involved in. That's where the relationship with Jesus started, accepting Jesus Christ into our hearts and just living for Him. And then going forward, my sister stayed in Indiana after she had graduated in 2014. Me and my mother had moved to Florida, and that's really when the relationship between me and the Lord kind of, wasn't following Him as closely, wasn't pursuing Him. That love and that reverence was not there. The longing for that relationship, it just kind of fell away, mainly because of the influence. Part of the reason why I didn't really stick around the church was because me and my mother couldn't agree on the church that we both liked. And so there was an absence of a community of, other believers. And then I started doing my own thing. And I met a girl in high school when I was 16, and I just pursued my lust and my flesh and kind of put God on the backside of my life. Really just turned my back on Him, and I got involved doing drugs and alcohol and sex and stuff. Everything impure and immoral. I was doing, and I did that for a couple years until I graduated. So that happened the beginning of my junior year of high school, and it ended right after I had graduated, post summer of 2017, when I got my job. And going into the workforce, graduating high school, not being a kid anymore, being an adult, and just the world is not a place for games. When I stepped into the job industry, you got humbled, and that's what happened. And God got a hold of me, through humbling experiences. Just not, I don't know, just being around people that don't, I guess necessarily care about who you are. They just, it's the world, and but God humbled me during those experiences, and they drew me closer. And during those experiences, my mother told me you couldn't quit something because something was hard, and so we just pushed through, and that's where my faith in Christ developed. So I gave up everything that I had been pursuing in my lust, my flesh. The girl that I was dating, I broke up with her and stopped smoking weed, stopped drinking, all of those things, and put away all of the worldly pleasures that I was indulging in. So I got involved with the young adults at the church that I was going in Brandy. The church that I was attending at the time was Rise. And I literally, the music that I was listening to, the friends that I had, I gave up all of my social media because there were so many things pouring into my life that I recognized that were gripping me and pulling me in these different directions that were taking me away from God. And it mainly had to do with, our desires, just our fleshly desires, of course, our sin nature. So to put that on pause, not even put it on pause, but to pursue the Lord, and to steward our desires in a healthy way, to eliminate all the distractions, to pursue Him wholeheartedly, to start reading the Word and learning what it was like to worship and to live a loving life and a faithful life. And when God got a hold of me, it was mainly the revelation that he had given me was to live a faithful life and a loving life, and to love people the way that he loved us. And so I've just had every single day I put myself in positions to live a faithful life and a loving life from that time forward. So from 2017 to 2020, I had grown so much in my faith with the Lord during hard circumstances, being in an environment I didn't want to be in, but I stuck there anyways. And that's where God made a foundation to serve him, in my life. And so from that point on, when 2020 happened, COVID happened, and I got laid off from my job, which in disguise was a huge blessing, and it shifted me into this season, which was so bright and beautiful, and I was so thankful for it. And I messed it up real quick because I got involved with a young lady back in 2020, and it devastated me because during those 3 years I had gotten so close with Jesus, with Christ, that I wanted to wait for my wife. Based off of my past experiences, I wanted to wait for my wife, and I didn't wait for my wife. And so I coped by staying in that relationship for a couple of years, and it didn't serve me, and I was trying to find my way out but couldn't find my way out. So it was towards the end of 2021 where I finally cut things off, and that's where things really started to shift. All throughout 2022 there was healing, but it was slow progress, and the same thing was going on through 2023. And the biggest breakthroughs that I saw, healing from those past experiences, came in 2023. Getting a new job position and just meeting new people, and just, I was still putting myself in positions to act on faith, despite the fear that, this could potentially happen again. But not being afraid of those things happening again, just continuing to pursue the Lord despite what could have held me back and my pursuit of him, and just continue to stand on the word and putting myself in these positions, putting myself in the best positions. That's what I was telling myself, putting myself in positions to live a loving life and a faithful life, knowing that I couldn't just stop the process just because there was a bump in the road, a hiccup, a time, a season that I messed up. We had to get back on track.